welcome to Podcast on Infinite Earths.
I'm Shane Justice.
And I am Patrick Cunningham.
And we are Sweet Aunt Petunia's two most favorite nephews.
Yancey Street crew.
Now, what is it? The Yancey Street...
Yancey Street gang. But
is it Yancey Street gang?
Yeah.
I was thinking like Brawlers or something like that.
The Yancey Street fuckboys.
Yeah.
The Yancey Street fuckboys. My favorite Southernism. I love fuckboy.
I like fuckboy too. It's fun.
Fuckboy is such a great term.
It is.
It's such a great
I
term.
agree. It was like when I first moved here and everybody was saying fucking A. I loved that
fucking
shit.
A is great.
Fucking A.
Dude, okay, so anyway, we introed the show and then we just started talking about fuckboys. So that's the type of thing you will come to expect from podcasts. We are your two favorite drunken fanboys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about the hard-hitting matters. We're going to talk about... we don't give a shit about this week's poll. We don't care. We're lazy fanboys.
No, I don't even care what's coming out this week.
I don't give a shit at all. They're like, we're at real fanboys? I'm a real fucking fanboy.
Real fanboy.
I could tell you everything about the subtle nuances of the Summers family tree. And Shade could probably, like... What's the most weirdly complex thing that you could break down for a non-fanboy?
Probably be to do with Flash's rogues.
Yeah.
And just like things people don't know about, like Mirror Master's cocaine addiction. Which is one of the most hilariously ironic things in all of comic books.
I missed that completely. Mirror Master's a cokehead?
He was for a long time, and he had these little pieces of mirror that he would carry around to travel through, and he would also chop up lines at various points. And
I'm wondering if he would like osmosis, like take the coke, like the residual coke that would be on the glass still,
or if he ever poked his head through like a mirror that somebody was using and just like and then popped back out.
That's awful, but also kind of amazing. I love flawed characters, man.
I do too, and that's why I'm a bigger DC fanboy.
I understand that. It's also why I love Hank Pym.
I like Hank Pym.
I love Hank Pym, and people are like, "Why do you love Hank Pym?" Hank Pym is a woman beater. I'm like, he's a founding member of the Avengers. That's a woman beater.
Right.
That's terrible, but also like, wow, they did that. Like they made.
You are not your shortcomings.
Yeah,
is the message of Hank Pym.
Yeah, it's true. He did create Ultron, though.
He did create Ultron.
Oops.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to create Ultron in the movie, so a lot of people.
That's a thing that I'm struggling with because they're even doing an Ant-Man movie, and Pym is in it, and on top of that, it's Michael Douglas, and I respect why they did that. That's a change that I can get behind. So you can have Hank Pym and Scott Lang, who was the current Ant-Man.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm totally fine with that.
But not only that, you can't have Hank Pym and be true, because for the most part, the Marvel Cinematic movies are true to the origins of what you know and love about the characters. At least for the most part. For the most part. Enough that it doesn't piss everybody off.
Thor, Cap, the only thing that changed a little bit was with Iron Man. He didn't get injured in Vietnam.
Right.
He got injured in Afghanistan.
Right. But you can't make him be 50 because he got injured in Vietnam.
Even though, in fact, Robert Downey Jr. is.
In fact, 50. He is 50.
Yeah. He's
100%.
They totally could have been like, yeah, I got this piece of shrapnel when I was 4 in Vietnam. When I was a 4-year-old mogul in Vietnam.
Traveling with my dad.
I just got hit in the heart.
It was on a business trip.
The craziest things always happen when I went on the road with father. With father. The movies. Fanboys do this unique thing, I think, and we've talked about this. Is that we get really we get very emotionally passionate.
Yeah.
About when they change things that could seem arbitrary to other people.
Harder than anyone on the planet, we judge things before we see them.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
Just flat out. The Fantastic Four movie.
The Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
Right now, I have seen a trailer.
Right.
And I'm not going to see the movie. I'm not going to see it. I'm going to boycott it because I don't want Fox to get my money. And there's nothing against Fox. Days of Future Past is pretty dope.
Yeah, agreed.
You know,
Agreed.
What they're doing with the X-Men for the most part, I have forgiven them.
They've righted the ship in a lot of ways.
Yes, exactly. It's good, but the Fantastic Four, like what they're doing. Let me take a swig of that.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of this on Podcast on Infinite Earths.
A lot of this. No passing Pringles, though.
No passing of the Pringles.
No
alas.
passing Pringles.
Alas. We keep it classy, folks. No, what bugs me is that it is a movie that when you hear about it, you're like, Dr. Doom is a blogger.
Yeah, which is nonsense.
Dr. Doom is a blogger? Victor, and it's not even Victor Von Doom, it's like Victor Dumachoff.
And see, I have a big problem when movies try to get away from the campiness of comic books.
Yes, Victor Von Doom is such a corny name.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's Victor Von Doom.
No, and that's my biggest problem. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Flash series.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends, who some of them are even comic book fans, don't like the show because they say it's too campy.
No.
And I'm like, it is comic booky.
Yep.
Like 100% it's comic booky. But it's a little off topic. But the Fantastic Four movies weren't inherently bad. I was actually really disappointed that they were going to completely reboot and go away from it. And then I was insanely disappointed when I heard the initial launch of what they were going to do. Michael B. Jordan is a fine actor.
He
really is. He's a fine actor. I have
nothing against the actors in the movie for the most part, except for the dude playing Mr. Fantastic who said, well, I mean, like, no one really reads comic books anymore.
Right.
He actually said that. I was like, really?
Yeah, then why are they a thing?
Then why are you employed in this movie?
Yeah. Then why are they a thing? They still make them. They don't print them for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. They sell them. People buy them.
Yeah, that's a big problem. But it did. It got us talking earlier, and that's kind of going to be the subject of the show. Was underrated comic book movies.
Yes,
movies that are pretty universally hated, or at least not really given the credit that maybe we feel they might deserve. And we're probably going to have different opinions on some of these.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think also we'll probably discuss the flip side of movies that
overrated.
Everyone overrated. Yeah,
overrated.
Because you got to have that control.
Dark Knight Rises trilogy.
What's that?
The Dark Knight trilogy.
The Dark Knight trilogy is totally overrated.
Way overrated.
It's way overrated.
They're awesome movies. They're terrible Batman movies. But we'll get into that.
Oh yeah. But right now we're talking about Fantastic Four.
Right.
This is a movie, a reboot that is so bad that Marvel has pulled support from their side of it completely.
Well, they didn't even just pull support. They canceled the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, they canceled the book.
They completely canceled
called
the book.
Diamond, who, for those of you who are not fanboys out there, Diamond are the distribution company.
Of all things comics.
Of all things comics. Toys, comics, and Marvel. Even though Fox has the cinematic rights, the toys and comics all still come from Marvel.
Right.
And Marvel has the right to pull those at any moment. Marvel did and they've had the right for years to do that.
Yeah, for years.
But no one has ever been so blatantly disrespectful to a franchise.
X3 was not so bad that they pulled the X-Men.
And X-Men 3 is
awful. Garbage.
That is not an underrated comic book movie. It's a terrible movie.
No, if anyone likes that, they're wrong.
You're wrong. The best thing there are things about X-Men 3 that are okay, like Jamie Madrox the Multiple Man is in it for
fantastic.
2 seconds.
Which was
awesome. He was great.
And there were several little flashes of various characters in the
Beast,
big
man.
scene at the end.
Kelsey Grammer was great as Beast.
Fantastic as Beast.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
For years, everyone said Kelsey Grammer should play Beast. He totally did, and he was great.
Yeah, that was amazing. It's too bad it was in a shitty movie.
It was just such a terrible movie.
Yeah. And then Vinnie Jones yelling out, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch," to Kitty Pryde. That was fantastic.
God.
It was the one moment I laughed.
It was pretty. It was the most meta thing to ever happen.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was great.
It was really excellent. That movie is not underrated. It's rated exactly where it needs to be.
It's where it needs to be, which is the bottom of the pile.
What do you, in your opinion, what's one you are passionately defensive of?
Passionately defensive of? That's a pretty tough call. I get a little defensive for Daredevil.
Okay.
I don't think Daredevil deserves the disdain that it got. I don't think Affleck was a bad Daredevil.
He
which
wasn't.
is the main reason that I didn't jump on, hashtag hate Batfleck when they announced that he was going to be Batman.
And you know what? You and I went back and forth on that because I was a total Batfleck hater, but you know what? Kevin Smith said it best. Kevin Smith said, I would cast Ben Affleck as the shark from Jaws. It's such a... And I was like, really? And then I saw... what was the... I saw... what's the one where he... Hollywoodland.
Oh, yeah.
He was unbelievable as George Reeves.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
He was unbelievable, man. I have seen Ben Affleck be great in movies.
Yeah. No,
and then I went back and watched Daredevil, and I was like, this isn't a bad movie.
Not a bad movie. Now, and I will say that my defense when people start, bashing Daredevil is based 100% on the director's cut, not the theatrical release.
Right.
It's about 20 minutes of more movie that helps it flow. Same thing. You know what I probably defend a little more passionately because I think it's a little more universally hated is Green Lantern.
Okay. Let's talk Green Lantern.
Patrick wants to stretch for
I
this
want
one.
to talk
get
Green
loosened
Lantern.
up. Green Lantern again. If you watch the director's cut, it's not as bad as initially seems like it is.
Right.
There are things that were garbage, like the entire the muscle suits were kind of cool. I didn't have a huge problem with it once I saw what the rest of the Lantern Corps looked like.
Yes, they made them all kind of look
right.
like that.
Yeah, they all were based on their own genealogy, and I was okay with it once I saw that.
Well, on top of that, they're space cops, and if you have the ability to make your space cop look all jacked and scary looking, then why wouldn't you make your space cop look all jacked and scary looking?
100%. My biggest problem with the movie actually is the CG mask.
I agree with you completely.
There's no reason that you don't just mold a mask to fit his face and then just tack it on.
Yeah.
When he's in his lantern suit. There's zero reason that you don't do that.
Or you go the Tony Stark route and you don't have a mask at all. And you're like, look at me, I'm the Green fucking Lantern. Look at me, I'm the Green Lantern. This is great.
Yeah, I get that, but they kind of want to keep hidden the fact of the core, that it is what it is. So I'm not even going to argue that case.
They didn't even want a human to be a Green Lantern.
Right, in the first place.
Yeah.
They didn't want that in the first place.
Yeah.
So I do get that, but I thought that Tim Robbins as Hector Hammond was fantastic. I actually hated that they killed Hector Hammond.
Yeah.
That bug I hate with so much hate when they kill villains in comic book movies.
Oh my God.
I hate it.
If
it's every once in a while, if you're on your third or fourth movie and you want to go ahead and off somebody for the sake of moving a story or whatever,
sure,
I'm fine with that. Occasionally, we lose members of our comic book community in the books.
It happens. They usually come back.
But just, Green Goblin dying in Spider-Man, and then you move on to...
well, that happened in the comics, man. Norman Osborn got impaled by his glider.
No, it did, but it wasn't like a week after Spider-Man met him. There was history involved.
I'm defensive of that. I'm actually defensive of that one, man. I actually, there you go. I don't hate the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
I don't either. I hate Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3 is awful. Spider-Man 3, X-Men 3. Are we noticing a trend here?
There's a trend. No, I like the Raimi Spider-Man movies all right. They get progressively worse.
Like the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, the Dark Knight trilogy got progressively worse.
I still stand by that Batman Begins is the best of those three.
Oh, 100%. Anyone who says the Dark Knight.
Heath Ledger is the best person to be in any of those movies, and that's the reason why it gets such...
It does.
Dark Knight gets all the love.
And again, I don't think Heath Ledger played the quintessential Joker. I think he was good for that universe.
Well, Mark Hamill's the quintessential Joker.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But he was fine for that universe. But the biggest problem I had with Ledger's Joker, the scene where he first meets up with all of the gangsters of Gotham.
Yeah.
And he's introducing himself, and he's like, "Who wants to see a magic trick?" Mm-hmm. And he balances the pencil on its end and smashes dude's face on it, and then he goes, "Ta-da!"
Yeah.
That is not a Joker reaction to pulling off what was easily a top 5 joke in that movie.
Yeah.
He would have died laughing, wiping tears from his face at the hilariousness of what he just did. Is not how he would react. And so I had a few problems with it. I don't think it was bad. Right. One, give me something.
Something.
And I'm actually pumped to see what Leto does with it. I think he'll be a good replacement.
Sorry, I have so much Jared Leto hate, man.
Yeah, I'm not a big Jared Leto fan, but he's a good actor.
My favorite movie he was in was Fight Club because he got his face beat.
Oh, God, that's my favorite.
I'm traumatized as a teenager from the '90s because he's Jordan Catalano.
Right.
Fuck Jared Leto. Is what I'm saying.
No, I get
Dallas
it.
Buyers Club is pretty good though.
That's what I was gonna say. Dallas Buyers Club is pretty good. He's done some solid roles. I think he'll be fine. I think he's weird enough. He's out there enough that he's gonna own this shit.
Did you see him play Mark David Chapman in that weird movie?
Yeah.
It was a weird movie.
It was a weird movie. I can't remember what that was called.
It had Lindsay Lohan and Judah Freelander in it.
Yeah.
Weird cast too.
Yeah, totally off the wall.
Sorry.
Yeah,
not a fanboy thing at all.
No,
Tom
but
Lennon.
that's fine.
Rest in peace, one for my homies.
Heath Ledger.
John Lennon.
But yeah, that's that's my feeling on the Dark Knight movies. They're good action movies.
Totally.
They're terrible Batman movies. Batman is the world's greatest detective, and the only remotely close thing you can say to detective work he did is analyzing the ballistics on the gun in Dark Knight.
They're like, we have to have him do some detective shit.
Yeah.
And he has all this tech. The worst part about it is he did detective work like Iron Man would do detective work.
Right.
Like Iron Man is more into detective in the Iron Man movies than
100%.
Batman is. Batman is a ninja.
Yeah, Batman is a ninja in that movie, which is fine because Batman is a ninja.
Yeah, he is a ninja.
But Batman is the world's greatest detective. That's what defines him.
That's what makes him Batman. He's the world's greatest detective. Also, he's a top-level ninja.
He's reason...
also a top-level, boxer, kickboxer.
Yeah, no. And his ability to detect is the reason that a human being with no superpowers is the subject of a debate of whether or not he could beat Superman.
Yes.
And no matter which side of that argument you're on, you have a case.
Yes.
And that's the entire reason.
But you have to have a case because it's very plausible that he could take down Superman.
100%.
Normally the math goes about 75-25 in favor of Batman.
Usually
in that fight.
Yeah. I 100% agree.
What's the your adage about that? The riddle.
Yeah, is who would win in a fight between Superman and Batman, but Batman does not have any kryptonite.
I'll play along because I know the answer to this. Well, Superman.
You're wrong. Batman wins, and do you know why?
Why?
Because he uses his kryptonite. And I know that I said that Batman didn't have any kryptonite, but use your fucking head. Batman always has kryptonite.
At all times.
At all times.
At all times.
He does not leave the house without kryptonite.
I'm actually kind of weirdly surprised that he never did the Lex Luthor thing and just jacked himself with kryptonite. Although we saw how that worked out for Luthor.
And that's, Batman's not going to make anything rash. I wouldn't put it past the fact that he's studying what he might be able to do with that safely.
Yeah.
Right. But he's not going to just Lex Luthor himself and inject it. So aside from the Batman movies being what they are, I think another character that doesn't get his due in the movies that he's been in is the Punisher.
I completely agree with you.
I go all three of them, to be honest.
The Dolph Lundgren one?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. It's not. Look, man, the movie's made what, 92?
Yeah.
Okay, for a straight-to-video 1992 action movie.
It's Dolph Lundgren.
Okay, but it's also Chris Christopherson.
Okay, that's fair.
Let's say that.
Okay.
And don't say Dolph Lundgren like it's a bad thing. Have you seen I Come in Peace? Have you seen Universal Soldier?
In pieces.
Cinematic masterpieces.
Oh my God! Right here, buddy.
Right here.
Wow, I love that you just did that.
Yeah.
I fucking love you, Shay. Okay, as far as the Punisher movies go, what bothers me is that, I didn't like Tom Jane was an excellent Punisher.
Yeah, the movie, John Travolta ruined it.
John Travolta ruined that movie.
Ruined that movie.
It was terrible.
Ruined that movie. And that, what sucks about that for me is that was actually at a time where I was kind of riding high on Travolta.
Yeah.
He'd done Broken Arrow. He'd done Pulp Fiction.
Broken Arrow is such a good movie.
Broken Arrow's fantastic. Face Off was actually a solid movie. Yeah. So I was kind of riding high on a lot of Travolta roles. And then this happened. And I'm like, you ruined something. Tom Jane was like the quintessential Punisher. And have you seen the Dirty Laundry short film?
I have. Oh, it's unbelievable.
No, it's brilliant. If you haven't seen the Dirty Laundry short film, just YouTube Punisher Dirty Laundry. It sucks that we've ruined the surprise for you because it doesn't let you know it's a Punisher movie.
Yeah.
But
at this point, pause the podcast, go watch that, and come back. And maybe Can't Afford Cable will have 2 views from you. Just saying. I don't know. I don't know how IP addresses work, but you should do that. Because we're about to spoil the shit out of that
Spoil
for you.
the shit out of it.
Spoil the fuck out of it.
That is...
Spoilers below.
The best Punisher movie.
It's the best.
Made to date.
And it's, what, 12 minutes?
Something around there, yeah. 12 to 15 minutes. Somewhere along those lines.
It's so good.
I was enthralled the entire time I was watching it. And when I saw it, I did not know it was a Punisher movie.
Nope.
Somebody sent me the link and were like, check out this Tom Jane short film. And I was like, I love Tom Jane. Like, let's see what this is about. And it's brilliant. It's just so well done.
And what's it? Ron Perlman.
Yeah, Ron Perlman.
In it.
Yeah, Ron Perlman has a little spot as a liquor store clerk, and it's just excellent movie.
It's a short that was good enough that Ron Perlman played a liquor store clerk.
Right. That's all. And Tom Jane did it.
Yeah.
And that's really all you need to know.
Super great.
If you do check it out and you like it, there is one called Truth in Journalism.
Yeah, about Venom.
Yeah, about Venom, which is phenomenal. And the same guy produced those produced an R-rated Power Rangers trailer, which is amazing.
And the Mortal Kombat.
The
Mortal Kombat one that he did with what's his name? Michael Jai White.
Yeah, Michael Jai White.
Michael Jai White as Jax.
Yeah. Which was fantastic. Michael Jai White as anything is awesome.
Yeah, it's true.
I wanted him to play Black Panther so bad.
Oh my god, he's too old.
Bad. He is, but who cares?
Yeah, that's true.
He can still be Luke Cage.
Oh my god, he's not going to be Luke Cage.
I know he's not going to be Luke Cage, but
the guy they got for Luke Cage is great. The guy they got for Black Panther is really great too. Chadwick Boseman.
Michael Jai White should play every black comic book character, all of them. He should play all of them.
That's like saying fucking Ryan Reynolds should play every superhero.
No, Ryan Reynolds is not as good. Michael Jai White could play Cyborg. He could play Luke Cage. He could play Black Panther.
Okay, Ryan Reynolds did play Hannibal King. He did play Wade Wilson, Deadpool, and he is going to play him again. And he did play Hal Jordan.
He did. Chris Evans did The Losers. He did Fantastic Four.
Okay.
He's Captain America.
All right.
And he did... there was another one that was at Indy. I can't think what it is. But whatever it was, he did. And The Losers is super underrated too, man.
The Losers is a very underrated comic book movie.
Super underrated comic book movie.
I actually just watched that like super recently.
Yeah, it was a while. It's been a little while since I watched it, but it's so good. It's really good. Right up there with Red as far as underrated. A lot of people don't talk about Red, even though it got a sequel. It was good enough to get a sequel.
Red is really good.
Yeah, Red's fantastic. Red's fantastic, but it gets no love. Nobody ever talks about Red.
Helen Mirren, dude.
Yeah.
Helen Mirren, fucking Bruce Willis.
Malkovich.
Man, Bruce Willis. I got a hard on for Bruce Willis. I have
still, yeah.
Whenever there is a old man role that they could make a movie out of it, like I have said for years, and people have laughed at me that if they ever did a actual cinematic rendition of The Dark Knight Returns. Mm-hmm. I stand by that Bruce Willis should play fucking Batman.
I would have no problem with that. I actually, when Old Man Logan came out some years ago,
Bruce Willis
I was immediately sad that Clint Eastwood was too old.
Clint Eastwood would have been pretty rad Old Man Logan.
Yeah, I was immediately sad that Clint Eastwood was too old. But right after that, I was like, Bruce Willis is right about the right spot.
Yep.
And I think if he wanted to, he could kill that.
Yeah,
I like Jackman. Jackman's been a great Wolverine.
Jackman is the shining star of all of.
Among
He's
very
too
few
tall.
bright spots.
My entire bitch about him, and I'll deal with it. I'll take that.
Yeah, no, and it's fine. They could do a little more to make him look shorter than they do.
They totally.
If they can make Tom Cruise look taller than 5'4", they can make Hugh Jackman look shorter.
And if they can make Ian McKellen look 7 foot,
and
make fucking all the Hobbits in the Hobbit movies look.
Super tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should do that, but they don't. And whatever, it's fine. Maybe because I 100% think that Wolverine will be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very soon.
Oh, yeah.
Very soon.
And Marvel is kind of setting it up, and you can document my prediction here.
Right here.
Right here. Document my prediction, my theory, my fanboy hypothesis.
Fanboy hypothesis.
Is that Marvel is after post-Secret Wars, because if you are not following Secret Wars, there's the most current comic book thing I'm going to talk about.
Right.
Is a series of alternate universe events happening all on the same world. And the people who win at the end of that are those characters, those incarnations.
Right.
And the Wolverine we're getting is Old Man Logan. They are definitely, in my opinion, gearing up. Latino Review, look into this, you awesome motherfuckers that break all the stories. I think that, in my opinion, that what it's going to be is that they're gearing up for Hugh Jackman to play Wolverine for the longevity. Yeah. For the longevity. To where they're like, oh, Hugh Jackman's getting older. Well, that's cool. We'll just have Wolverine be older.
Right. No, and it may very well be. I could see that 100%.
Yep.
And you never know what Marvel's going to do, man. Marvel, for me, one of the biggest problems I have with them as a comic book company is they'll draw me in with these amazing stories, like Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
You know, I was all about Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion was awesome.
I was only reading a handful of Marvel books at the time when Secret Invasion happened, but it brought me back into a lot. I was way into that story. And then the
Thunderbolts tie-ins were great.
Yeah, they're fantastic. All the Thunderbolt stuff from that era was just top-notch.
Warren Ellis, baby.
Yeah. But the end of Secret Invasion, it was just garbage, man. Jarvis was a Skrull for all of these years. Amadeus Cho's dog was a Skrull.
I like the fact that his dog was a Skrull.
It's whatever.
Skrulls are aliens, folks,
but
by the way, if you don't know. They're little green men.
It was such... It just felt like we got to figure out how we're going to say that we fucked everybody with the Skrulls. And it's like, okay, everything's a Skrull. Everybody. And you don't know who's still not a Skrull. Yep. And they
Did
just
we get them all? We don't know.
We don't know.
Not everybody is here.
And then you've got these smart...
Like roaches.
The smartest people on the planet. They can invent an AI like Ultron.
Yeah.
And they can't come up with anything to test if you're a Skrull.
Well, Reed Richards did at the end of Secret Invasion.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The way until...
But why did they have to wait that long?
Right. The Skrulls have been a problem for decades.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah. In fact, the Skrulls first appeared in the Fantastic Four.
Yep.
The first person to encounter a Skrull was Reed Richards.
The smartest man on the planet.
Wouldn't you think that he would have come up with a Skrull detector in, 1965?
Yeah, somewhere around there. You have a portal to the negative zone. You can't come up with a blood test?
A portal to the negative zone. A bridge that literally takes you to every alternate reality.
Right. But, this blood test.
Yep.
Having a real hard time cracking that.
He built a prison in an alternate reality that holds superheroes.
Yeah.
That happened.
That's a thing. It's a thing. But that's my biggest problem with Marvel and these events. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of things. Civil War, I had some issues with how that ended.
DC are a lot better, I will own up to this, at keeping the story going and interesting between events.
No, I agree, and they get messy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And it's the reason that we've had so many crises in DC, where we have to clean up the universe because things just get kind of out of whack. And I don't have as big of a problem with the crisis events as a lot of people do.
I like the crisis events. I like that there's a common thread.
Right. There's always a common thread.
I'm not a DC guy. You know what I read? Big crisis events.
Yeah, because they're
do.
consistently good.
Final Crisis was excellent.
Yeah, I don't even like to talk about it because it was so good.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was so good.
We won't even talk about it.
All right, back to our movies. We were on The Punisher.
Yes.
And we hit a fanboy
totally
tangent.
That happens.
Yeah. Punisher Warzone, I think, is easily the most underrated. It's probably the most underrated comic book movie of all time.
I completely agree.
Most underrated. It was the most Punisher movie. that there could have been. It was violent. It was kind of campy without being overly campy.
Super violent.
Yeah, super violent.
Not for kids.
They used Jigsaw. Of all villains, they used Jigsaw.
He's Punisher's big bad, except for the Kingpin.
Right. He's the big bad, and he's a brutal character. I mean, they start the movie off with him getting created and crushed in a vat of glass.
Yep.
That's being...
Which is what happened.
Right, which is how it happened.
That's his actual origin.
There was a moment where you have these thugs, these street-level thugs, who are... just bouncing from rooftop to rooftop as they would in a comic book.
Yeah.
One of them flips halfway over in between the two buildings and gets hit with a rocket by the Punisher and explodes all over everything. That's the most Punisher-like thing to ever happen.
That's a very Punisher thing to happen. Like, the Punisher Warzone was the first time I had ever seen anybody go, let's make an actual Punisher movie.
Right.
Like... right out of the comic books. And it is so out of the comic books that it is based on the first two arcs of... because there's the black dude, the black Irish dude, Janice.
Right.
And he's in the movie, and he's from the second arc of the Punisher Max series, written by Garth Ennis, which, introductory fanboys, look up Garth Ennis, and if he wrote it, you should read it.
Yeah, a god among comic book
writers. God among men, yes. To Garth Ennis? Yeah.
To Garth Ennis.
To Garth Ennis.
And I feel like it's just super underrated. I was extremely bummed when they announced they would not be pursuing a sequel to it. I thought that it could really take off. And I feel the same way about Dredd. They're kicking around the idea of doing a sequel.
I really liked
was
Dredd.
Fantastic. It was up there with Warzone.
Judge Dredd. For those of you who didn't know it was a comic book, it fucking is.
No, and if you haven't seen the movie, I think it's still on Netflix. Check it out. If it's not, figure it out. Watch it. It's good. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really good movie. It held my interest the whole time.
Yep. It was a great movie.
Yeah.
It was really awesome.
It's done. And so if you are familiar with the character, if you really like Judge Dredd, the Easter eggs in that movie are
so many.
Yeah, they're just everywhere. It's hard to even try to keep up. Really, really, really good movie.
I got all the judges in there too, all the other judges.
Yeah, and just even names of various judges
Yep.
Popping up on the screen as they're scanning the city for crimes.
Yep.
And, really, really good. It got me pumped for a sequel. Hopefully it gets greenlit at some point. Last I heard, they're still trying to move forward with it. I don't know. Any other underrated movies that you can think of? Howard the Duck.
Yeah. Howard the Duck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't know if I would call that.
No. That's not underrated.
You're being
Howard the Duck is fine.
It's like you're a comedian.
It's a guilty pleasure, is what Howard the Duck is. It's a guilty pleasure.
Well, totally. How old were you when Howard the Duck came out?
6, maybe
I
somewhere around
was
there.
Like, I was
and already had the
age.
hugest crush on what's her name?
Leah Thompson.
Leah Thompson.
Yeah,
like
Leah
had
Thompson.
the biggest crush on Leah Thompson.
The only reason to watch Caroline in the City.
The only reason.
The only reason.
In the City. But she had done that Space Camp movie, which I hated, but I watched because she was in it.
Wow, I forgot.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
As a child.
Yep.
And we are here in Huntsville, Alabama.
We are
the
here.
home of Space Camp.
Home of Space Camp.
That's
where
right.
we're filming this. But I lived far, far away from here.
That
when I
had to
watched
be
that movie.
weird. You guys watching?
I wasn't here.
Oh, that's
Chicago.
right. You weren't here. You were in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what? It had to be weird for the kids in Huntsville.
I would think it was weird.
That's
because
right.
you had to have gotten this completely false sense of what you thought an experience at Space Camp in your hometown was going to be.
Yeah.
And I would imagine if I had lived here, I would have gone. I would not have left my parents alone until I gone to Space Camp. And when it was nothing like that movie.
You know what? Well, you know how bad we are? We have friends that work at Space Camp, and I have not researched this information.
None
So I'm not going to talk about the relative price of Space Camp. This is
but I will say this, that it was expensive enough to be the grand prize on Double Dare many, many episodes.
Many times. Mark Summers.
They were all about some Space Camp.
I waited. I thought for years that it was going to come out that like Mark Summers was like a serial killer. Like he just looks like Mark Summers looks like a serial killer.
Too nice. Yeah.
Just, hey.
He was always such a nice guy, so quiet.
What was the other Finders Keepers?
Maybe
that one?
that rings a bell.
He hosted Double Dare, and what was the other one he hosted?
Oh, man. It'll come to me later. I can't think of what it was. It wasn't Finders Keepers that we're thinking of. It was around that, there was Don't Just Sit There that was on there. That wasn't him.
I forgot about Don't Just Sit There.
Yeah. There was Out of Control that had Dave Coulier on it.
Oh, that show was great. I was so happy you remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Cut it out.
Cut it out. That was his... There were Easter eggs happening on Full House. Dave Coulier was the only one keeping it real.
Keeping it real, man.
Keeping it real with the cut it out. That's wow, Out of Control. That's old school Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I can't remember what the other Mark Summers show was called, but anyway, again, off topic. We're just nerding out over various shit. So I guess moving on. Overrated comic book movies.
Well, we already talked about that.
We touched the Dark Knight trilogy. Hugely overrated.
Thor. I'm the Marvel guy, man.
Yeah, no.
Thor.
A case can be made, I suppose. I will say that of the Marvel cinematic movies,
it's the worst one.
Thors are my least favorite. But
I think
like
Thor 2 was okay.
Yeah.
Thor 2 was better than Iron Man 3.
The only thing really, the only problem I really had with the first Thor was it was slow during the middle.
It was so slow, man.
It was really slow during the middle.
And it's in the only exciting parts really happen in Asgard.
They do, and well, there was the fight with the Devastator at the end.
The Destroyer.
Was good.
Yeah,
but no, I do agree, and I'm kind of over.
That's the only cool thing that happens on Earth.
I know I'm definitely in the minority on this statement, but I've been over Kat Denning for like a long time.
Oh, dude, me too.
And I mean, I know she's like a little quirky,
but
whatever.
I fucking hit that.
Oh yeah.
Off the record. Totally.
Off the record.
Throw her the old brajol. Give her the old Italian shoulder.
100% would not say no. But I'm just kind of over her shtick, personally.
Yeah, dude, exactly.
And,
well, if I want to see her shtick, I'll watch Parks and Rec, and what's her fucking name does it way better.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. I'm also half drunk. What?
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, I love her. Love.
Yes,
love
absolutely.
Aubrey Plaza.
Not my type, usually, but yeah, absolutely.
I'd marry her.
Oh, Aubrey Plaza. I would. I'd sniff her butthole.
I want to have her babies.
Yeah. I like how you went very decent, and I went very just.
No, I
John
didn't go
Waters level dirty with it.
I didn't go that decent because I would kill those babies.
Oh, you know.
But I want to have them. I do want to have them.
Oh my goodness.
Hey.
Comic book movies you want to see made.
Wait, you know what? Because I'm not done on
overrated.
Sorry. Because I'm about to touch a lot of nerves. I think is all of the original Superman movies.
Overrated?
Overrated.
Totally agree with you.
Overrated.
Totally
all of
agree
them.
with
Superman 1, Superman 2. Well, and then
Superman 3 is ridiculous.
Yes, Superman 3 is just and Superman 4 should not ever be talked about. It should be buried wherever they buried all those ET Atari cartridges. It's where they should bury Superman 4. I owned that game. I did too. I beat that game.
Did you really?
I beat that damn
bullshit.
game. No bullshit. And there's no strategy to it. I literally stayed alive for like 8 hours until I found all the pieces of the phone.
Can we play ET at the next time you do a game thing? Can we play ET?
Yeah. I got a 2600 and the ET.
I'm making this guy fucking put his money where his mouth
Look, man,
is.
it took me like 6 or 8 hours. I'm not kidding. I could sit in front of an Atari console back in the day until my eyes bled.
All I remember is like it didn't make sense. Like you brought ET flowers and his neck goes up.
No, nothing about it made sense. There were these bushes that I guess maybe they were supposed to be holes, but if you fell in them, you went in the pit, and you had to make your head grow to float out of the pit.
Yeah.
But the pieces to the phone were in those pits.
That's right.
And you had to find, I think there were 3 pieces. You had to find all 3 pieces of the phone.
Home.
Because you had to phone home. And you had to take those pieces I want to say it was kind of this Parthenon looking or something government looking with the columns. You had to take it there, and then you called home, and the ship came and got you right as the FBI guys like caught up and watched you float up into the thing. Like, I swear that's how this game ends.
You know what? I hate to say it, this is a very good tangent. We talk about comic book movies, video games. Okay.
Movie video games.
My favorite one, and I've always felt like they always should have done this, is The Goonies 2.
Oh, yeah. No, look.
The Goonies 2.
Goonies 2 is phenomenal. It's a great game. It's a just fantastic
and it's
old school
sequel.
Nintendo game. And it's a sequel. It's a legit, like, studio-approved sequel.
And it's just on Nintendo.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Nintendo,
it's just dude running around in the caves with a yo-yo.
Yeah, and somehow the Fratellis are free again. And, it's just a whole weird clusterfuck.
It's actually a pretty rad game.
But it's a really good game.
It's one of my favorite
so hard.
Nintendo games.
It's
for
so
real,
hard.
For real.
I never did beat Goonies 2.
Goonies 2 is a hard game.
I know someone who did beat Goonies 2.
I can believe it. Like, it seems like it actually had a place to go.
Yeah. But that needs to be another
Jimmy,
episode.
are we just talking, or are you still? Are we still?
Still going.
Okay.
That needs to be another episode.